Madu upon you, are you washed them? Send face you. Blessing of the feast of dedication. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Asherah, Lathananawa, Ashar Kanaka, Bashalawam, Tawada, Aman. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the feast of dedication. In peace, thank you, so be it. Kanan, could read everything? The Aliyam Ma'an Asherayim Akkad, Psalm 121. Anya, Rayam, Ayunimya, Hayam, Mayan, Yabwa, Isaiah, Yabwa, Maya Hawa, Shaisha, Shamayam, Rataza, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Wagalia, Yala'a, Yanawam, Shasha Marka, Anna, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shashua Ma, Yashawala, Yahweh, Shemaya, Yahweh, Tazaya, Aid, Yanyamyan, Yahumam, Hashemash, La'a, Halkaya, Rayurak, La'a, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamaya, Makal, Rai, Yashama, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashama, Awalakia, Baba Ya, Maita, Wa'ait, Iwulam, Ba'asham, Yahushai, the water, Aman.
Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Shema Yashuala, Heal Israel. Shema Yashuala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Achad. Shema Yashuala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Achad. Shema Yashuala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Achad.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Amen.
Amen. Yahweh Tapala, Yahweh's prayer. Abiyanawa,
Abiyanawa,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Kodash,
Kodash,
Haya,
Haya,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Malakovka,
Malakavka,
Taba'a,
Taba'a,
Ratazawanka,
Ratazawanka,
Haya,
Haya,
Haisha,
Haisha,
Barataza,
Barataza,
Ka,
Ka,
Bashamayim,
Bashamayim,
Latananawa,
Latananawa,
Lacham,
Lacham,
Yawam,
Yawam,
Za,
Za,
Wasalaknawa,
Wasalaknawa,
Kawafnawa,
Kawafnawa,
Kasalaknawa,
Kasalaknawa,
Kawafyanawa,
Kawafyanawa,
Wala'a, Abiyanawa, O, Nasai 1, Abo, Awashinawa, Marai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa Allah, Rataparat, Lai Ulam, Amen.
Matthew 6:9. After this manner, therefore, pray, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debtors, we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Amen. Ashura Matazawaf, the Ten Commandments. La'a, Yahaya, Laka, Alahayam, Al-Qaryam, Al-Panya, La'a, Daisha, Laka, Paso, Wala'a, Daibadam, La'a, Dalakwaka, Shamwa, Yahawa, Lahaika, Ashua, Zakar, Ab, Ayuwam, Ashabaf, Lakodashwa, Chabad, Abika, Wa'amaka, La'a, Tawatazak, La'a, Tana'ab, La'a, Taganab, La'a, Taina, Shako, La'a, Takamad, Ko, Ashura, La'aika, Aman.
Exodus 20:2. I am the Lord thy God, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For when 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. On thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
Aman. Yeshua, please be seated.
Just in time. Start. I'm over. I'm over.
Wakata Yawa Bashem Yahushai, Ashura, Natana Nawapa Yagapan Tuara Aman, La Yahawa Bashem Yahushai, At Yasha Allah. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it to Yahweh in the name of Yahushai with Israel. model upon you, you wash them, sin and face Jerusalem. Repeat the Hebrew only. Barakatah Yahweh, Hagadol, Rakaram, Abiyo, Wanawa'ah, Al-Yuwan, Malak, Shal, Shemayim, Baratazah, Rako, Labayim, Kayam, Wagum, Amashiach, Mayahawa, Arawanawa, Ahabnawa, Hapalah, Ya'itaza, Yahushai, Zakarnawa, Yahweh, Batazawan, Aimka, Yasha Allah, Aizonawa, Wana, Wasap, Yasha Allah, O, Nanawa, Yamyun, Aitha, Kayawamyun, Makodum, Babakushai, Shalak, Micah Allah, Batazawadak, Alahayam, La, Maganawa, Wapanawa, Washamor, Alnawa, Baikor, Shalak, Aroka, Shaw, Yahushai, Nanawa, Lalamudnawa, Rabiam, Kakama, Tabawana, Wada Aif, Shaw, the Barka, Bahasham, Yahushai, the Wada, the Myad, Waiwalam, Amen. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth and all things living. And also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahushai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel. Most high, we beg you, right now like the days of old. Please send Michael and the righteous powers and angels to watch over. Please send the righteous Please send Michael, the righteous powers, to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly, send the spirit of Yahushua to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahushua, always and forever. Thank you, so be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives to us the law. Barakatah Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Asherah. Atananawa. Atharat. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives to us the light to see. Barakatah Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Asherah. Atananawa. Awar. La'orat. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that gives to us the rams on to call the people. Barakatah Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Asherah. Atananawa. Karun. Ayah. Lakara. A'aim. Yeshabu, please be seated. All right, Shalom, Yasharala. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, those watching on the live stream. Shalom, those listening in the conference line. Welcome to the Feast of Dedication. Welcome to Ayashua Kanas, which means the Congregation of Israel, where we teach the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, those whose forefathers were brought here on cargo slave ships. They are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. Today is a joyous occasion. It is the Feast of Dedication. All right. Give me 1 second. So, all right, so we are at the Feast of Dedication. And, you know, in the light of the holiday going on out here, you know, people getting in the Christmas spirit. And it just so happened that we have a great feast, such as the Feast of Dedication, that falls on around the same time. So we don't have an excuse. Those who those who know about the Feast of Dedication, right? We have something to fall back on, which is our true biblical uh, feast, which has great significance to our people. And what is this feast is about? If some of you watching on the live stream are new, I'm gonna give a brief synopsis of what this feast is about and why we celebrate it and why we should rejoice on this day. So, like any people, any nation that exists on the face of this earth, uh, especially the so-called Negroes and Hispanics, those whose forefathers were brought here on cargo slave ships, right? We are scattered all throughout the Americas and all throughout the four corners of the earth, as a matter of fact. But mainly, we are concentrated in the Americas, right? Because it was prophesied that we would be brought here in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, right? Which is a chapter that all of us should be familiar with, right? Because when you come to the truth, one of the chapter that we focus on to show that we are the biblical Jews that the Bible speaks of, we mainly go to that chapter to show slavery in the Bible, right? And that's the only true historical book that can show, our plight coming here during the transatlantic slave trade, right? Outline it to a T, right? What would happen, and that's exactly, what happened to our people, right? Because in 70 A.D., as it was prophesied, Jerusalem was invaded by the Romans, and we were chased. A lot of us were killed, right? And we migrated to different part of west coast of Africa, right? And because of our disobedience, and the Arabs, right, the so-called Palestinians today, right, who are not, who are not the people who should be inherit that land, but due to our disobedience, you have the so-called Jews and the Palestinians today fighting for our land. Right? We were kicked out of our land because of our disobedience. Then we were gathered on cargo slave ships, aided by the Africans. Right? And here we are today, right, in the Americas. Right? So we are familiar with slavery, and if you when you didn't know your nationality, you didn't know who you are prior to coming into the truth, right? Knowing your true biblical nationality, they told you that your history started with slavery, right? So they told you that this Christopher Columbus discovered America, and they talk about the Indians, right? Who are the people that the Pilgrim found, on the land, and all all these backward stories, but prior to us coming into the truth, that's the story we knew, right? But now, coming to the scripture right now, right, we learn that we are the true people of God. And as the true people of God, our history is in the Bible, right? Our history is in the Bible. So we keep in this feast day, which is the Feast of Dedication, because in one of the Greeks, during the heights of the conquest of Alexander they call it the Great, but to us is Alexander the Greek, right? So Alexander conquered uh, uh, the, the what we knew as the Middle East, right? Today, right? They conquered the Middle East, and he pretty much um, he reigned throughout a large part of what we call the Middle East, right? So after he died, he has those who took over after him, and one of the kings that took over after him was uh, the Seleucid dynasty, right? In the Seleucid dynasty, you have King what's his name? We had what's his name again? Antiochus, yeah, Antiochus Epiphanes, right? Antiochus Epiphanes, right? He took over, and in his plight, right, to get us to follow Greek customs, they profane our temple, right? And how they profane our temple is by instituting laws that we should not keep the laws of the Most High. We should pretty much follow everything that he instituted as king. Of course, if anyone knew, right, who we are, we would fight, to keep God's laws instead of keeping any other, king's laws, because this is a decree by the Most High for his people, that wherever we are, wherever we may scatter, he may scatter us, right? We should be keeping his law, statutes, and commandments, regardless of regardless of government that we may be under, right? So we revolted against that, right? Against the Greek profane our temple and fight against us, right? To keep our righteous laws, and we defeated them. We cleaned the temple and we rededicated to the Most High. So if you want to read about Antiochus Epiphanes, you can follow with us in the scriptures that we're about to read, and he reigned in what we know as Syria, during his reign in 175 BC to 164 BC, right? So we're gonna read today to get further edification on this feast, the Feast of Dedication, in the book of Maccabees. All right, so grab your Apocrypha, which is part of the Bible. This one says King James, right? And in the King James version of the Apocrypha, it looks like this. All right, so grab your Apocrypha, which was part of the Bible, but it was separated. But if you have a 1611 King James Bible, you should be able to read along in that Bible. But if you have this one that I just show you, you can grab it. We're gonna focus on the chapters that tell us what this day is about. Quite, it's extensive, but we're gonna try to cover as much as possible, and given the time, and we'll take it from there. So the chapter that you should turn to is First Maccabees, the first chapter 1. So the Bible is a book of history, contains everybody on the planet, or every nation, I should say, on the planet. History is in it. In the book of First Maccabees, in the first chapter. And I'm gonna try to go as fast as possible in the reading, and then every now and then I'm gonna stop and give the sense so that we can be all on the same page. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam. All right, so this is speaking about what I mentioned earlier, Alexander the Greek. Right? It's talking about him right now. It says the Macedonian, right? And he come from Macedonia. He's okay, and his father was Philip, who came out of the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes. Keep in mind, they took down the Persians and the Medes, right? We had, what was the first empire we had?
Babylon.
We have the Babylonian Empire. Then we have the Persian and the Medes Empire. And then now we're about to have the Greek Empire. Okay? And it says that the Persian and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead, meaning he took over this empire and his reign started, or his kingdom started. The first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the king of the earth. When it says slew the king of the earth, meaning he slew the king that was before him, he took over and reigned. And also all the other kingdom, or lesser kingdom that were around, he took over these empire. He took over these cities and towns, and made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the end of the earth and took spoils of many nations. When it says he went through to the end of the earth, meaning he went to many countries and fight them and take their spoils, right? Their provisions, food, whatever valuable that he can take his hands on with his soldiers, he took. Right? Took spoils of many nations. And so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. So he became mighty. He became a mighty power. None of the kings were able to contain him. So since he was so powerful, his kingdom was quiet. Quiet means no one dared to come against his soldiers because he was a mighty power. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations. So he had a strong army, right? He had a strong army. He had a strong host, right? Because any empire, in order for you to be a big empire, you have to have a strong army. So who's the biggest empires today? We would say the US, right? Because they have mighty powers, they have weapons of mass destruction, they have nuclear weapon, right? And they have bases all around all around many countries, right? Hundreds of countries, they went and established their base. All right, so this is how America demonstrate how powerful he is. In like manner, the Greeks around that time, they were considered the mighty power because he established a strong army. In verse 5, in verse 4 again, and he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. So when it says they became tributaries unto him, when he conquered them, they had to pay taxes to him. Okay, so he can maintain his empire. Verse 5, and after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. So after many battles, he got weak and fell sick and he died. So we're speaking still about Alexander. Wherefore he called his servants such as were honorable. So that's prior to his death. He called together his servants, meaning those who were in the army, right? Who were fighting with him. The generals, captains, right? Those who were part of his entourage. So such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth. So those mighty men who have been brought up with him, those honorable men, right? It says been brought up with him from his youth, and he parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So what he did, he appointed them head of state of many of those countries that he conquered. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. So he only ruled for 12 years prior to his death. But his kingdom didn't stop there. We just read that he parted or put his people in place in those countries that he fought to conquer. In verse 8, and his servants bear rule everyone in his place. So they were the governors of those places. So everyone stayed and control their territory. Verse 9. And after his death, they all put crown upon themselves. So did their sons after them, many years, and evil will multiply in the earth. So they all put crown on their heads. They proclaim themselves kings, like kings of the town, whatever city or whatever country that they were presiding over, they were the king of those places, right? They in many years, their sons take over, right? After the father died, one replaced the other, and they did likewise put crown and keep the dynasty going. Verse 10. And it says, don't forget, in verse 9, it says, and evil multiply in the earth. When it says evil multiply in the earth, everything that is contrary to the Most High's laws is evil. So they were doing things that were contrary to the Most High's commandments, right? Not that they have the Most High's commandments, but they were ruling according to their own thought, according to their own liking. So evil multiply. Verse 10, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, sin named Epiphany, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. So he is noted there, apparently, among the wicked king, right? Among the wicked king that ruled in Alexander Empire, he is the most wicked of them all. So that's why he's noted here as opposed to the other ones, right? So we're going to find out how wicked he was, right? And as we read the chapter. In those days, went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So remember, when you have a dominant empire and you have other countries round about, they want to be in good standing with that dominant empire, or else they may get taken over and they can take their people in place over your territory. Now, we have our own people who see the domination of the Greeks. They decided, you know what? Why don't we join with the Greeks and do like them and be accepted of them, so we can partake in their prosperity, right? Kind of like you have countries like the Caribbean island, right? The governors or the president, they always want to be friend with America. Why? Because if they're not in league with America, at any time America can organize a group of people and concocted a coup d'etat, and they can lose power. So to consolidate their government to stay in power, they would side with America and follow the doctrine or the customs of America. So kind of like the same scenario being played here. Our people wanted to be in league with them so that they can consolidate their power and have, the Greek kingdom as their allies. Okay, so if the Greek were their allies, since they are the dominant empire, right? If anyone wants to attack those that are in power in the Jews town, they would come to their rescue or help them, right, stay in power. And they were willing to do it against keeping the laws of the Most High, right? In verse 11, I read it again. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Right? So in today's time, the way it's done is they have organization like OAS, right? They have CARICOM, right? They have other countries like the European Union. All those, all these organizations are offshoots of Americans, powerhouse. All right. So it's the same thing being done, but it's done differently. Right. So verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. So they got the king, the Greek kings, who is Antiochus Epiphanes, right? So they went in petition. They tell them what their requests were. They got their requests, and they went about and applied it. I'll read verse 13, and I'm sorry, verse 12. So this device pleased them well. So that action that they took worked out well for them. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the custom of the heathen. So one of the things they did to introduce heathen custom or strange customs or other nation customs, nations who are not part of the nation of Israel, the Greeks, right? They introduced a gym in Jerusalem. And let's see what happened at that gym. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. So as they introduced the gym, they start doing things that the laws of the Most High forbid. So they break the covenant that they made with the Most High. Now they start following other laws or the doctrine or the rules or the regulations. So they no longer follow the regulations that the Most High set in place and told them that they had to follow. Go on, Rabia.
You said a question. You mentioned, I heard of CARICOM. You mentioned OAS.
Yeah.
What's that?
The OAS is the organization. It's an OAS. How you break those letters? You know, y'all You're not familiar with OAS?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
We can Google the acronym, but I mean, what's the organization?
The OAS, they have those Latin American countries. I mean, the Caribbean countries.
Yeah.
You have Jamaica, you have Haiti, you have those countries in DC. So each Caribbean island, they have a representative there in OAS in DC.
So it's like a political, like a socioeconomic type thing. Where they get together to kind of come up with like trade agreements and stuff like that.
Yeah, trade agreements, but under the auspices of the U.S. Yeah,
Okay.
but they have offices in DC. Yeah.
Well, just curious.
Mhm.
The statistics.
Just for the website, I haven't been there.
All right, so verse what verse we on now?
I think you read 16, right? You read 16. I think you just read 15.
16.
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second. Quick search for you. Okay. It's a Organization of American States, right? That's OAS.
Organization of American States.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. They call them states. Then they want to include them in the union.
Yeah. All right. So what verse we on?
16.
We on 16, right? Okay, and it says, now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms. So he had one of the largest area that he ruled over. Still, that wasn't enough for him. Speaking about Antiochus, he wanted to get more territories. All right, so he wanted to get more territories. So he thought he could go after Egypt as well. Just like America, they enlarge their desires. Right? So it's the same spirit. It's the same people. Right? It's the same people. It's just fast forward in our time today. Right? We reading the story back then, but us today going through the same thing with the same spirit, the same people. All right? So he enlarged his desires. That's why he's all over the place. Right? He cannot keep at home. He got to have bases established different places around the earth. Right? He always out to steal somebody's goods or somebody's resources. Okay? So that's Esau. Right? That's Esau that the Bible speaks of. Verse 17. So he wanted to also take Egypt. Remember, Ptolemy was in Egypt, but he was in all around, and he had more territories than Ptolemy. But he wanted to enlarge his desires and take over. Kind of like even he wants to take over from his own people. Like for example, right now, fighting with Putin, trying to take over Ukraine, or try Ukraine to take over Russia. Right? It's always, even among themselves, they always fight, right, for territory. Not only he fight us, he fight other people, but he fight within. He fight even people. They fight among each other. Okay, so that the spirit of that man is still in Esau that we experience today. Okay, verse 18. And made war against Ptolemaeus, king of Egypt. See, he made war with Ptolemaeus, king of Egypt. But Ptolemaeus was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Okay, kind of like what he's doing right now, stealing territories, stealing, stealing territories from the Palestinians. Okay, enlarge his borders, pretend to make deals and don't respect it. When he find a upper hand, he try to march and take more properties, right? Even though both of them, they are two thieves stealing properties, but he always the one, you know, trying to always enlarge his territories, and everything is his, right? Everything to him, everything is his. So it says he made war with Ptolemy, king of Egypt, but Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 140 and 30 years, and went up against Israel in Jerusalem with a great multitude. So now, after he got a big portion of Egypt, he said, okay, now we got a big portion of Egypt. Now we're gonna go for the Jews. Now we're gonna go for the Jews. We're gonna march in Jerusalem. We're gonna try to take over. All right. So follow the story here. You get the idea, right? So that's why I'm not putting in the scriptures. I'm going straight forward so you can get a good idea of what we're reading here. I may make reference, but I'm trying to keep it concise. All right. So let's read on. So in verse 20, 21, and he entered proudly. So he took a bunch of soldiers. Now he's gonna go against us, right? After he came, conquer Egypt, stole Egypt goods. Now he says, you know what? Let's go for the Jews. Right? We got more work to do. So now he went from, see, I'm making the parallel as we go today. He went to Iraq. He said that's not enough. We got to go to Syria. He said after we go to Syria, you know where we're gonna go? We're gonna go to Pakistan. Right? But as you can see today, he's getting weak. He's getting weak even to the point where those countries make him run with their tails between their legs and skipping town. Right? So at that point, before then, they were very, as we're reading right here, during their heights, they were very strong. Right? They can conquer countries and easily because they were mighty. But even though today America is strong, but he's not as strong as he used to because he's losing strength. His power is diminishing because he's in his last days, right? His empire is about to go down, right? Just like the Roman Empire fell, and then they bounce back again. They become strong. So now their reign is getting weaker and weaker to the point where some countries not afraid of them. They can go toe to toe with them, right? Because they also have a nuclear weapon, just like he does. Okay. So now let's move on. In verse 21. So now he's gonna go against us. It says, Israel in Jerusalem with a great multitude. Verse 21. And entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar. So now he went into our sanctuary. Back then it was all about gold. Right? We had gold in abundance. It's not like today, which you trying to get a small little piece of gold for $10,000, right? Trying to get a pound of gold for $10,000. Right now, everybody is seeking to get a piece of gold. Back then, we had gold in abundance in the sanctuary. Now today, you cannot have no gold and no sanctuary. It'll be gone by the time you open your eyes, you blink, it's gone. Like even the priests will steal, right? The Catholic priests today will steal it. So you cannot have no gold in the sanctuary. Back then we had gold in our sanctuary, right? So he went and stole the golden altar. So we had an altar made of gold. He stole it. Okay, as he start, marching on us. And the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof. He took all the vessels that we used to have in the sanctuary, in the temple. And the table of the shewbread and the pouring vessels. So we go into the article that he stole. And the vials and the censers of gold and the veil and the crowns and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also, he took the hidden treasures which he found. Okay, so gold was the thing for him, right? And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre. All right, so he massacred before he left. Before he left, he took everything that he wanted to take. And as he's leaving town, he killed a lot of our people. So he did a massacre. And on top of it, he was speaking trash. Right? After he did all of that. So he trash talk, right? Verse 25. Therefore, there was great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were, so that the princes and elders mourned. The virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. So this is just describing the state of agony that our people were left in after this guy came in town, right? So everything for us was upside down. It was a day of luminous, a day of darkness. Verse 28. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. So we had great distress. We didn't know what to do because the town was pretty much in bad shape. Everybody was in distress. So we didn't know what to do. Right? We were crying. Right? We didn't know what to do at that point because we were pretty much terrorized. Right? We were terrorized by Antiochus Epiphanes. Verse 29. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the city of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude. So what he did, he instilled fear in the people. So that's pretty much, that was the mind control that he placed on our people. He did what he did, put fear in them, and he expected them to pay taxes. That's how he took over, right? He took over their mind. He left them in distress, put fear in them, and then after 2 years, he's gonna send his people to get the money that they supposedly owe him in taxes. It says, "And chief collector of tribute unto the city of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude." So he came with an army. He came with an army, come to collect. Verse 30. And spake peaceably, and spake peaceable word unto them. So they were talking soft at that point. You know, after they did all they did, now they came like nothing happened. Nothing happened. Just give him some time, and then go back and try to, speak nice word with the people. They're gonna forget. And not only if they don't forget, they're gonna remember what we did to them. So if we talk nice to them, they better be happy, because they know what can happen, and they know what happened before. Right? It says in verse 30, and speak peaceable word unto them. But all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. Kind of like the same thing that they did during Thanksgiving. Invite our people, who they call the Indians, who are the natives to this country. They invited them to a feast, but the feast was a plot, right, to kill them. So now, as we see here, they speak peaceable word, but war was in his heart, right? So this is the mentality of the people of Esau that you're dealing with today. That's why they can't be trusted. Nothing they say you can trust, right? So they smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. So that tactic is part of Esau's nature. They've been doing it throughout ages, throughout centuries. They've been doing it, right? So when they come and they tell you, they come in your neighborhood, they tell you they're gonna do project for your own good. Don't believe it. Give it a few years. Next thing you know, they're gonna take over. They're gonna run you out of your own community. This is what justification is about, right? They tell you we're gonna make the neighborhood good. We're gonna make it nice. Before you know it, things become so expensive, you can't even afford, to pay the heating bill in the area. Next thing you know, you got to move out, and you sell it, and they always have somebody ready to buy with cash on hand, right? Because they set you up in your own community, right? So that's the nature of the people that you're dealing with, right? Called Esau. Same spirit, different tactic. In verse 32, but the woman and children took they captive and possessed the cattle. It says, but the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle. So the reason why they took the women and they keep the children, they get rid of the men, because they're gonna need the women to raise the children in fear of them, right? They're gonna need the women to raise the kids for them. So the kids that are raised, they'll raise it for Esau, kind of like the same thing they do today. Take the men out of the house and let the woman raise the kid, right? And next thing you know, you have a dysfunctional community. Not to say that the woman cannot do a good job, but she cannot do all by herself. But she's gonna try. Next thing you know, the kid's gonna be in the corner. She cannot, watch him 24/7. But the father is not there. So you have a destructive neighborhood, right? She tried her best, but she can't because you need both parents in the home. For the father is supposed to oversee everything that's going on. So same people, same spirit, different tactic. Instead of killing you, but they're killing you softly. You alive, you walking, but you just as good as dead. Right? So that's the game that is played today. Right? So single family home. All right, so let's go to verse 34. Then build the city, okay. In verse, it took the cattle, right? It took the cattle, take the children, take the women, and get rid of the men. All right, so that's the game. Always the same thing. Because of human rights violation that they set up now, right? Because what they do is they do crime, but they don't want you to do crime just like them. So they put up human rights because they done build their empire through killing and robbing people. So they know if you want to become like them, you're gonna have to do some robbing and killing. So what happened? They put a bar. They put human rights violations. So now you cannot do the same thing we do, right? Because human rights violation gonna come after you. But whenever they want to take over a country, they concoct a story. But they have the army. They can send the army to take over. They can start war, and they can bribe people, the in Congress, and tell them to pass laws to say this guy got a weapon of mass destruction. We can go there and seize his stuff, take his oil, take his natural resources, right? That's always an excuse, a cover up, right, to go to war. But the real essence of the war, right, is I mean, why they going on the war is to rob and steal. But they cannot tell the people they're gonna rob and steal. They gotta let them know that this guy has some kind of weapon. He's a terrorist or something. We gotta go after him. And then once they convince you through the media that this guy is a terrorist because they run the media, then after they convince you, then Congress sign up on the thing, and then they print money. They go to war. They steal the people's stuff. And then 1 year later, they say, man, we didn't find a weapon of mass destruction that he has. Man, well, we already took the stuff. So it's too late. So that's how the robbery is done today. Right? So verse 34. Verse 33. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. All right. So after they take the city, they build a stronghold. Now they conquer it. Now it's them. Right now they say it's for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortify themselves therein. Right. So they put wicked men in place, and they fortified and themselves, and they keep themselves in. That's 35. They store it also with armor and victuals, and when they had gathered together the spoil of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, and so they became a sore snare. So they set this place that they got. They put food there. They put their weapon there, right? They make it a trap, right? And they make it a snare. It says, for it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary and an evil adversary to Israel. So they put it there so that they can have control, because they know they don't want us to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And they know in the sanctuary Anybody that go there, any priest that think they're gonna go there to keep the law as the Most High instituted, you're gonna get reported and be killed. Right? So that could be a scenario, right, that can play out in this right here. In verse 35. They start verse 36, sorry. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary and an evil adversary to Israel. Thus, the innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defile it, and so much that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of transgressors, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. So they changed it. They changed the city completely. It becomes a city where terrorists, where criminals, right, run rampant in the area. And our people could not even recognize this place, because this place was turned upside down from what it used to be. Right? It become hell. The sanctuary become a place that you can recognize. All right, so keep in mind as we read this, you're gonna see we're gonna need somebody, with great courage, right, to take on these people, right? Verse 39. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbath into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory. Kind of like the way you see it today. Granted, this is not our sanctuary, but you can see in our neighborhood today, you have a church, a liquor store. A church here, a liquor store. And then you had a nightclub right down the street. Right? So that's the mentality of Esau. Everything is fair game. That's the kind of territory that he creates. Whenever he goes into a country, he wants to bring that culture over there. Where you are in peace, everything were in order, he wants to flip everything upside down. Okay? Red light district, everything goes. That's why it's a melting pot. You see everything, everything and everything. You want church here? Okay, no problem. 2 doors down, you have the nightclub. Then you have, fast food restaurant. Then you have, a lodge, down the street. Okay? So that's pretty much the culture. And that's why many countries don't want Esau to go in their country, because they know what's going to happen with their democracy. Okay, so they don't want you to have restriction. They tell you the people want freedom, but their freedom that they promote is corruption. Okay, they bring corruption to your country. Verse 40. It says, and had been glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, right? And everyone should leave his law. So it says everybody got to mingle into one people. Just live your laws. New world order, one world order. Everything goes. We all the same people. All right. Mix everything. It's what. It's one community. It's one world. You know, that's pretty much the saying today. Which means everything, you know, we want it all over the world. Right? Through information technology, through YouTube, we'll sell you the culture. Even if we're not there, we'll sell you the culture through, you know, technology. So that's why you see in any country you go, you see, you know, people, young people wants to be like what they see in America. They want to mimic the culture of what they see in America. Okay. And that's the same thing Antiochus says right here. So you can see he was a Greek. And remember, as we're making the comparison, we say that America is an extension of the Greco-Roman Empire. Right? So that's what you are seeing the parallel that I'm making as we're reading this chapter. And everyone should leave his laws. So which means if you have laws that the Most High give you, you got to put that aside. If you have laws that says men and men cannot get married in your law, you got to leave that aside. Women and women can get married. If your law say, you got to leave that aside, because we building one community. That's what they're saying. Okay. So that's why they want to push it in every country. If you don't like it, your government don't like it, we're gonna put sanction on them. If we are dealing with them, we're gonna cut the money off. If they don't want to abide by these laws, the men and women, men and men, women with women, and bestiality, and so on and so forth. Okay. And it says, yea, many also of the Israelite consented to his religion and sanctify and sacrifice unto idols. So many of our people say, you know what? You can't beat them. You got to join them, man. You got to enjoy it for what it is. What can we do? You know, we in their kingdom, you know, at least, you know, we got our freedom. We got everything here that we need. You know, we want wickedness, you got it. Right? You want whatever we need, you know, King Antiochus, they allow it to happen. Some of our people, you know, they like that, you know. It says, for the kings had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the city of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Okay. And forbid burnt offering and sacrifice and drink offering in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festivals days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars in grove in chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. So Antiochus wanted the people, what they call today, reform. You need to reform. We need reform. So anything that your law says, we're gonna go the other way, because we taking over. It's a takeover. Verse 49. To the end, they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. It says, to the end, The end game, what they want is for us to forget the law and change all ordinances. So you know what happened to us when we do that? We become zombies to those empires. Because once you leave your law, that's it. You puppets. They take you, you do all kinds of whatever they want you to do. You just like zombies, kind of like what you see today. We like zombies. They tell us Christmas, they give us trees, we just go and buy trees. Right? They tell us Thanksgiving, we go to the store and go buy turkeys and we sit down and celebrate and we say Happy Thanksgiving. Right? At some point, we all were zombies. Right? At some point, we all were zombies. Right? Following all these holidays. Right? So that's pretty much what was being done to our people back then and being done today in a different manner. All right. And it says, and whosoever would not, verse 50, and whosoever would not do according to the commandments of the king, he said he should die. So if you don't want to follow the way of America today, it's either you follow the way of America or you get back with the Most High. If you don't want to follow the way of America, there's no way you can survive here. If you follow the way of the Most High, you can be in America and still survive. But if you don't want to follow the way of America, you're going to be an outlaw. You don't get locked up or get killed. Get down or lay down. Ain't no joke out here, man. It's get down or lay down. It's either you do wickedly, you rob people, you or you just struggle, you never get anywhere. Because it's yeah, you gotta be doing some kind of wickedness because the system is set up for you to be wicked to survive. If you're not wicked and you're trying to be like or you're trying to be in the middle, there's no way you're gonna make it. It's either you on the Most High side, Most High protect you, you survive, or you on the wicked side, you prosper, but you sell your soul, right? And you all right. But if you're in the middle, you trying to tap dancing, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it. Yeah, it can't. There's no tap dancing in this kingdom. Right. And you don't think you like a head of state, you're gonna go against America, you're gonna get killed. You gotta be on the side of the Most High. Right? You can't be going against America, right? And think that war is not knocking at your door. You got to follow the rules of America.
Kind of, it shows you the devil, the spiritual devil, and how the physical devil, Esau, they reflect each other when it comes to affliction. Mm-hmm. To where they don't kill us physically, right? Cause us physical harm through disease, radiation, right? Different types of poison. They'll use that as a last resort. But before that, they'll try to afflict us as far as our things, like we were talking about earlier, doing an embargo on you, right? Keep you from being able to sell what you have. And then before that, they'll come at you personally as far as try to make you an outcast or a pariah amongst your own people.
Right.
Like you were saying earlier about getting the coup d'etat, get the people to turn against you.
Right.
They usually go to those first. And as a final resort, they'll say, okay, now we got to come at them physically if they still can't get them out or her out of power.
That's the game. Yep. Verse 53. Okay, verse 52 now. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evil in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for Sukkot. Right. It's either you run or you just join the party. Be part of what's happening. Now, now the 15th day, in the 15th day of the month Caslu, in the 140th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar and builded idol altars throughout the city of Judah on every side, and burnt increased incense at the door of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in places the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. Whatsoever was found with any and wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. All right. So if they find you with a book, the testament, and if you consented of the laws of the Most High, write that in there, you were X'd out. You were killed. And that was a law. Right? That was a law. Verse 58. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the city. So if they found you in the city, they tell you, hey, listen, are you an Israelite? What do you think about the laws of the Most High God, the God Yahweh you serve? What's going on with that? Are you down with that? If you say, yeah, you down with that, that said you out. They X you out.
Get the black bag put over your face.
Yeah.
Put you in the back of the van.
It's almost like they have a mob squad going around, assigned, right? Assigned to every month, assigned to go around town and find people who say they down with the laws. Once you say that, you out, dead. As many were found in the city. Verse 59.
It disappeared.
Right. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God. So they did sacrifice on the altar of the Most High, but they do it to their idols that they place on the altar. Right? Their statues. At which time, according to the commandments, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. So women will circumcise their babies, and they were found out, they killed them. Verse 61. And they hanged the infants about their necks, and raffled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. So they go there, they ruffle them out of the house, and those guys or the doctors that perform the circumcision, they kill them. So when it says an infant by about their necks, right, it's like you have a baby, they grab the baby by the necks and bring him out. And if they see that they were circumcised, that's it. And the mother, if they find the mother in the house, that's it, dead. And if they find whoever was performing the circumcision, dead. Okay. Albeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean things. So some people vowed that they rather die no matter what happened. They made up their mind that they would die and they would not eat any unclean meat. Say, over my dead body, I would not eat any unclean meat. So they pretty much, resolve with themselves. If that's how they're gonna go, that's the way they're gonna go. So 63. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. And there was very great wrath upon Israel. Okay. So now you start to get the gist of what the Feast of Dedication is about. You start to get the feeling, why we keep this day. As we read, at least even from the first chapter, you kind of see the significance of this day already. Okay. Let's move on. Chapter 2, verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias. So when situation like that happen, there will arise somebody who says, you know what? Or the Most High will raise a hero to lead a revolution. So that's the beginning of that revolution right there. Starting with Mattathias. All right. So let's read about that. In these days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, the priest of the sons of Jorab, from Jerusalem, and dwell in Modin. All right. And keep in mind, as we read this, something should come to mind. We're reading history, and it's right here in the Bible. How come we never learn this in church? Yeah. How come we never learn this in church? This is history. So the Bible has history in it, even if they didn't tell the story according to us, right? Because at least they should let the people know the story. At least tell the people what the story is about. But here we are, we're reading it today. And he had 5 sons: Johanan, called Caddis; Simeon, called Tassi; Judas, who was called Maccabeus; Eleazar, called Avaran; and Jonathan, whose surname was Ephes. So this is the family of Mattathias. Out of that family, that's where we're gonna have the revolution. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah, when he see what's happening, the crime the abomination, the terrible situation that's going on in Jerusalem, he said in verse 7, woe is me, wherefore was born, to see this misery of my people. He said, nah, no way. Why was I even born to even experience this situation? It's a misery, in the misery of his people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, in the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. So he kind of like questioned his existence at that time. Why was he born in such error to experience such blasphemous thing, and such crime? What would say crime to Israel? Verse 8: her temple is become as a man without glory. So he's describing the state of the temple. So he's giving us a visual picture here, right? Her glorious vessel. So he's describing the temple, how the temple was, what was in it, and what it has become at the time he's watching what's happening. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Everything that they had in there, all the goods, the vessels, they took them away. They were stolen. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom, in gather of her spoil? So he's taking account of what's happening, right? So he's taking account as what's happening, what's taking place. All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she is become a bond slave. Talking about the Jerusalem, Galatians 4:26, which is above is free, which is the mother of us all, right? So Jerusalem has become a slave, meaning servant to strangers, meaning the country, right? Verse 12, and behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end therefore shall we live any longer? So he concluded, after seeing all these things, listen, you got to live for something. Because right now, we are not living. So I'd rather die than to see these things. So he made the decision to become a revolutionary family. He said, what's the point? Why am I living right now? I'm breathing. I exist. But I'd rather be dead than to see these things happening. And if I'm alive, something got to be done. And he resolving himself to do something about it. Verse 14. Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. So he went into a state, what we call today, he went into a state of depression. Verse 15. In the meanwhile, the king's officers such as compel the people to revolt, came into the city more than to make them sacrifice. So, as they continue to make the people do wicked things in the land and follow their way and their custom, they happen to be in modern, and they're gonna make the people do sacrifice, but sacrifice to idols. Verse 16. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. So Mattathias decided that he's gonna go down to the place where they're gonna do the sacrifice. And you had a bunch of our people there lined up ready to do the abominations. So Mattathias and his sons, they also went to the event. Verse 17. Then answered the king officer and said to Mattathias on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city. Right? So keep in mind, Mattathias, he was a notable man in the city. Right? He was a officer, or he was somebody noble, in noble position. Right? So now the king's gonna go to him. He's gonna try to corrupt him, because if you corrupt the leader, as the leader is wicked, so are the people. So if you corrupt the leader, the people are gonna follow suit. All right, let's go on. Then I read 17 again. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yeah. And the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou in thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. This is a petition for him to sell out, to be corrupted. We're gonna give you silver and gold, give you money. All you gotta do is just put the dress on. That's all. Let's put the dress on, and you're gonna be rich. The next movie you're gonna do is gonna fly. You're gonna sell a lot of people gonna watch that movie. All you gotta do just one time, just put the dress on.
Keep my wife's name out.
That's it.
No.
See, that's exactly what is being done today to us. We are selling out for money, for contracts, right? For cars, for Rolls Royce, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. Right? Those are the things that we sell out for. So here you go. He came to Mattathias now. He tell Mattathias, listen, you already a good notable man, good you stand up guy in the community. People look up to you. How about we give you a mention? You and your family and your friends You know, you go and live it lavishly with your entourage, with your people. You know, it's easy. All you got to do is just, we're going to see what happened here. Verse 18. Let's continue on. Now, therefore, verse 19. Then Mattathias, see, corruption, that's how corruption happened. All right. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin. So as he finished, made a statement, Mattathias that is, now you're going to see Akun, the sellout of our people, they're going to make their way to go to the altar to do abominable sacrifice. As the king commanded, right? Watch what happened. Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his rein trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Mattathias, what we call it today, he lost it. At that point, the man lost it. When he saw that his people were about to do it, right there on the altar in front of him, the man lost it. So, he could not contain himself. And all his anger was there. And his judgment, he was like, listen, forget it. Wherefore, he ran and slew him upon the altar. He pretty much killed him right down in there in the altar. So that,
they say, yo, old head snapped.
that's it. He snapped and he lost it.
Old head got loose.
He lost his temper. That was it. So that's why it says in Ecclesiastes 7:7, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. So the oppression right there that he saw, the anger took over, he went and killed a man right there in there on the altar. The Israelite man that was following the king's commandments and were about to sacrifice idols to idols on the altar. Verse 25. Also the king's commissioner. So not only he killed the Israelite man who was about to do that, he killed the king's commissioner, the commissioner that the king sent, right, to oversee the sacrifice. Who compelled, right? He killed the commissioner who compelled men to sacrifice. He killed that. He killed at that time. And the altar he pulled down. So he pulled down the altar. 26. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phinehas did unto Zimri, the son of Solomon. So So you can read that in Numbers 25, verse 6 to 8, that example. Verse 27. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. Those who are ready to fight, those who are ready to stand up, follow him. If you're ready, follow him. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. So they went there to retreat. After what he did, he knew that was an act of war. He declared war. So he knew what was coming, the repercussion. But he resolved in himself to stand up, and he knew what he was getting himself into. So that's why when he cried to the city, he need men, he needs soldiers. He could not do it by himself. So he went to the mountains to retreat so they can pretty much organize themselves. Verse 29. So he and his sons, they fled. Verse 29. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. So if they seek those who were also trespass and they look seeking justice, they also went in the wilderness to stay there. Both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because affliction increased sore upon them. Now when it was told the king's servant in the host that was at Jerusalem, in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandments were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness, they pursue after them in great number. And having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. So they knew our customs. They knew that on the Sabbath day, we rest. So they pursued to make war with some of us that went in hide in the city of David, right? When it was reported to the king, the event that took place. Verse 33, and they said unto them, let that which ye have done hereunto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandments of the king, and ye shall live. So as they caught these men, they wanted them to disobey the Most High and still commit the act of sacrificing to idols. Still, in verse 33, and they said unto, verse 34, but they said, we will not come forth, neither will ye do the king's commandment. Neither will ye do the king commandment. We will do the king commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. So they killed those men. Howbeit, they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stop the places where they lay hid. but said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that he put us to death wrongfully. Until this day, heaven and earth is testifying for them, because we reading this today, we keeping the feast of dedication. Right? And this happened way back when. Again, the earth is bearing witness. And those of us who are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, we're reading about it, who know about it today, we are what they said back then today. We are witnesses that they were killed wrongfully. Verse 38. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath day, and they slew them with their wives and the wives and children and their cattle, to the number of 1,000 people. Verse 39. Now when Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. So which means they were sacrificed for a good cause. If you want something, you got to be willing to sacrifice for it. And that's pretty much what happened. Yahushua sacrificed for us because he wanted us with him in the kingdom. Right? We want him. He loves us. He wanted to die for us. So he agreed to be the sacrificial lamb for the children of Israel. These people right there, they agree to be sacrificed for doing the right thing. Okay? So Mattathias mourned for them, right so. But the battle continued. Verse 40. And one, this is again, that's like casualty of war. You know, when you go to war, you're gonna lose soldiers. Okay. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. Keep in mind, we didn't fight to fight, we fight to preserve our nation. Those who had died, they sacrificed themselves, but still we have to have a remnant left behind to fight to preserve our existence. It's all about existence. Okay? And you cannot exist if all your ancestors and everybody died. Right? So you have to, first order of everything is self-preservation. Okay? If you're gonna die, make sure that somebody can replace you, and vice versa, and so on and so on and so on, so you can continue to exist. Okay. All right. It says, at that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law. So he had backup. So those men, gave themselves as backup voluntarily. They devoted into keeping the laws of the Most High, men of Israel, right? 43. So the squad was growing. Also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them, and were a stay unto them. So the numbers are increasing, right? The number of soldiers increasing because they see a matter worthy to fight for, to preserve our people. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger, and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor. Keep in mind, they fighting. Sometimes they says black on black crime. At this point right here, it's fighting for justice to keep what is rightfully ours, our laws, our people. Then Mattathias and his friends went around about and pulled down the altars, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly. All right, so they revive the circumcision, and that started to bring back the energy of keeping the law. Or the power of keeping the law. They pursue also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of the kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. So now they start taking action, and they start, taking our laws back from the heathen that stole them, and from the kings, the notable men around those the cities. Now, when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, now have pride and rebuke gotten strength in the times of destruction, in the wrath of indignation. So as the dad, the father, is about to pass away, he's getting ready to pass the baton as the general to his sons. He's giving them some words of encouragement, and letting them know what to look forward to in the fight that they engage themselves in. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall you receive great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation? And it was imputed unto him for righteousness. Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt.
Phineas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Jesus, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Right? I mean, that's not the Jesus. It's like Yahushua. It's like Joshua. Okay. All right, so let's read on. Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, receive the heritage of the land. So all that he's doing right now, he's giving them his last word in outline, great men that were before him, things that they have done and what preceded them after they died. So you want a great name? Stand for the name of the Lord. That's pretty much what he's telling them. And fight even if you have to die, for a cause worthy to die for. Continue on. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. David, to his family, remember, Christ will have the kingdom for everlasting. All right, so through David's line shall come the king, and the king is Yahushua. '58. Elias, for being zealous and fervent, for the law was taken up into heaven. Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. You remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
Oh.
All right.
Why they call them that?
Ananias, Azarias, Misael.
Why they call them those names?
Right. Remember, we're speaking about Greeks now. Right. We are at the time of the Greeks. Okay. So the pronunciation is as Greeks, not as the Hebrew pronunciation.
I mean, I was more so getting that. How come it doesn't say Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? That was more so what I was getting at.
Okay.
Why doesn't it say that? Those names.
But you want to talk about that?
That's what I was mentioning, but you might know.
I mean, you could chime in if you want.
It's the slave names.
Right.
These are their Hebrew names. But they were given slave names, just like we're given slave names. They just don't ever cut who took us over.
Right.
That's it.
So our name kept changing. The pronunciation kept changing, depending on what took over and who took over, what empire. They would change the pronunciation, right, or give us slave name. Just like when we read in other chapters, who was the one that went and changed his name to a Greek name? It kind of escaped me, but we'll get back to that. Right? Because today the name that we have, it's slaves' names pretty much, depending on who owns us and what plantation, and the name carries on, and we have all kinds of names. Who knows what my name was, right? So we kept name kept switching, depends on what empire, who take over, and what slaves, owner that we were part of his plantation. Keep going. Verse 60. 60. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. That's it. None that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Should mark that right there. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms. All right. Verse 63. Today ye shall be lifted up, and tomorrow ye shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his thought is come to nothing. Whatever ideas, whatever good thing you made, you go back to the dust. Who remembers Steve Jobs? Hardly today. Right? You remember this guy? He's the guy who started Apple. People enjoying their Apple phone. They don't remember no Steve Jobs. Right? So that's how the wicked passed away. But those with great names, people read about them every day. And there's the book of the law is there every day throughout generation. Because the Most High said, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall endure forever. So if the word endure forever, David was way back then. We're still reading about David, still reading about Solomon, still reading about all these great men. Their name never passed away. They are examples, right, for our people. "64. Wherefore, ye my sons, be valiant, and show yourself men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall you obtain glory. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel." So now he's going through the attributes or the qualification or the talents or the gift of each of his sons. So he's going to name them here and tell what their talents are, what their qualifications are, what their gifts are. "And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always." Listen to him, because he's a man of counsel, meaning his judgment, he has good reflex. He has good judgment. "He shall be a father unto you. And for Judas Maccabeus, he have been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain, and fight the battle of the people." 67.
So we make that joke about they were in high school today.
Mhm.
Simon would be like the class president.
Mhm.
He used to be the captain of the football team.
Correct. So now he's a captain, right? That's Judas Maccabeus. He's valiant. As a kid, he used to always be a strong man. That's the man that always stand up for himself. You can't bully Judas. If you try to bully Judas, Judas will kick your butt. So that's the qualification, that's the characteristic he showed even when he was a young man, right? The 67. Take also unto you all those that observe the law, and avenge ye the wrong of your people. So anybody cross your people wrongfully, when I mean wrongfully, not in a righteous manner, make sure you fight for them. Make sure you defend them. Verse 68. Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law. So he blessed them and was guarded to his fathers. So he fulfilled his purpose. So Mattathias fulfilled purpose and gladly left. And that's a beautiful thing. When you spend your time, fulfill your purpose here, when it's time for you to go, there's no heaviness, there's no sorrow. You go and lay in peace. Because the assignment that you were sent to do, you have accomplished it. So majority of us today, we just here, we just living, we just, wake up, go to work, come home, eat, sleep, get up, go to work, come home, eat, sleep. And to a certain degree, sometimes we feel discouraged because we don't feel like we're doing anything here. It's like what's the purpose? Those men right here, when you find your purpose, something working, dying for, then even when at the time of your life, time well spent, just like Yahushua. He came in, spent 33 years, young, fulfill his purpose, and then he said it's finished. He died and went back to the Father. He fulfilled the purpose. He got the job done. Those are the men right here. Right? Come, fulfill their assignment, and go. They take the time. They didn't take time for granted, right? They didn't take time for granted. They use time, and they adapt to the situation, to the changes. And those are the two greatest things any man or anybody alive, those are the two most important things in everybody's life, right? Especially us. Spending much time and change. There's nothing we can do about them, but just plan and adapt. Time, everybody got it. 24 hours for each man, 24 hours for a woman. Rich, poor, 24 hours. Regardless. Change is going to happen to everyone. You can't stop change. That's what's going on here. Those men, they find their purpose. They found something worth fighting for. Even after they die, they find their purpose. They see exactly what they were working towards. And he was gladly give them instruction to continue on that journey to finish their course, because he finished his course. Paul finished his course. All these people that follow after Christ, use Christ as an example, they fulfill their purpose. Verse 69. So he blessed them and was guarded to his fathers. And he died in the 146th year. And his sons buried him in the sepulchre of his fathers at Moden. And all Israel made great lamentation for him. All right, so made great lamentation. He's gone. They don't know where they're going to see him again in the kingdom. Yeah. But they ain't going to see that face in their lifetime, or the same man as they know him. Might come back in another generation. He's not going to be remembered as the same man. Right? So to them, it's a farewell. They lament. What a great man we had in the midst of us. Fight continue. Chapter 3. Second Maccabees 10. Right. So, all right, let's move on to Second Maccabees 10 so you can wrap up. All right. So at this time, everything that I read should solidify the greatness or the relevancy of this, how relevant this feast is, the Feast of Dedication. Even if you don't get to read the entire chapter, so you should be reading the next two chapters, right? We read chapter 1, chapter 2, read chapter 3, right? In this great week, that's gonna be, 8 feast for 8 days. So read the chapter 3 and chapter 4. So meanwhile, we're gonna jump to Second Maccabees. Second Maccabees, chapter 10, verse 1 to 10. So everything that we do has substance behind it. All the feasts that we keep have real meaning, real substance, not fables. It's not like somebody jump in the chimney, fairy tales and fables and lies and deception. I gotta take a shot at the Christmas real quick, Santa.
X myth.
Yeah. All right, so Second Maccabees, chapter 10, verse 1. Where you said we're gonna stop? Because we're gonna verse 8.
Yeah, when you say it, it'll make sense.
All right, chapter 10, verse 1. Now Maccabeus and his company, now Maccabeus and his company, the Lord guiding them, we covered the temple in the city. Keep in mind, the Lord guiding them, we covered the temple in the city. But the altars which the heathen had built in the open street, and also the chapels they pulled down. And having cleansed the temple, they made another altar. And striking stones, they took fire out of them and offered a sacrifice after 2 years, and set forth incense and light and showbread. When that was done, they fell flat down and besought the Lord that they might come no more into such trouble. But if they sin any more against him, that he himself will chasten them with mercy, and that they might not be delivered unto the blasphemous and barbarous nation. All right. Now, upon the same day that the strangers profaned the temple, on the very same day, it was cleansed again, even the 25th day of the same month, which is Caslu. And they kept 8 days with gladness, as in the feast of the tabernacles, remembering that not long afore they had held the feast of the tabernacles, when as they wandered in the mountains and dens like beasts. Therefore they bear branches and fair bow and song and palms also, and sang psalm unto him that had given them good success in cleansing his place. They ordained also by common statutes and decree that every year those days should be kept for the whole nation of the Jews. With that, we said this is the Feast of Dedication. Okay? Now, last scripture to finish. We're going to go to St. John, the 10th chapter. St. John chapter 10. In verse 22. And it reads, and it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication, and it was winter. And Yahushua, whom the world called Jesus, walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Right? So at the Feast of Dedication, he walked in Solomon's porch, meaning when he said porch, he walked in Solomon's temple for the purpose of keeping the Feast of Dedication. And this is our Lord and Savior. Another mighty man who came in and fought and died for his people. Actually, he came, spiritually fought, died physically. He's coming back to deliver his people. And we're going to have another great feast to come, just like the Feast of Dedication. When Yahushua come and conquer the earth and establish his kingdom and take it away from this wicked system. So with that, we're gonna say stay tuned for the closing prayer. Read the rest of the chapter in chapter 10 so you can, get more understanding. And if you read the other chapters 3 and 4, right, since we cut through and we read the end of when they clean in the temple, read up, and then you'll see what happened in the fight that took place that got us to where we are today. With that, stay tuned for the closing prayer. Have a great feast. Enjoy it, even if you have to work. If you can get yourself in the mode of decorating your home with palm trees, right? Do so, and keep the spirit in a positive manner. All right. Stay tuned. Rakta Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ashurana Tanawa Pa Yagapan Tuaraman, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ak Yasha'al. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it, to Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai with Israel. I mad upon you, are you wash them? Same face through some. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Babakushai,
Babakushah,
Shema,
Shema,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Aita,
Aita,
Yamyan,
Yamyan,
Aita,
Aita,
Shalak,
Salat,
Micah Allah,
Ma'ika'al,
Wala Alahayim,
Wala'alahim,
Batazu Dakim,
Tazadakim,
Shemaiah,
Shemaiah,
Barak,
Barak,
Rapa,
Rapah,
Magun,
Magan,
Wakaziyak,
Wa'akaziyah,
Banya,
Banya,
Yasha'ala,
Yasharal,
Washalat,
Washalat,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Kakama,
Rakama,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Ta'if,
Ta'ai,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Bayana,
Bayana,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Sabalanwa,
Sabaloma,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Amawan,
Amawan,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Aqua,
Aqua,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Ahabiam,
Ahabi,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Kagana,
Haganah,
Rakanaya,
Rakanai,
Wasalak,
Wasalat,
Kal,
Kal,
Tatayimna,
Tatayimna,
La Akim,
La'akim,
Wayasha'ala,
Yasharal,
Tamyad,
Tamyad,
Waiwulam,
Wa'ilam,
Ba'asham,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
the water,
the water,
Amen.
Amen.
English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please listen to us now. Right now, send Michael and the righteous powers and angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel. And send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive us all our sins for the brothers and sisters in Israel, always and forever. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it. Four corners prayer. Shema. So be it. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
Barak Nawa,
Barak Nawa,
Wayasha'ala,
Yasharala,
Bafi Saparian,
Ba'ya Safari,
Shema,
Shema,
Yasharala,
Yasharala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Allah Hainawa,
Yahweh,
Yahweh, Achad. English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, bless us in Israel, in the house of books. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our power, is one power. All right. Blessing for the food. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Hagadol,
Agadol,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Adawanya,
Adawanya,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
Barukushai,
Baruchah,
Barak,
Barak,
Makal,
Makal,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Shatai,
Shatai,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Yayan,
Yayan,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Lacham,
Lacham,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Shako, Shakar,
Shakarai,
Shakarayan,
Shakarai,
Zakar,
no, Shakarai,
Shakarai Yanawa,
Shakara, you know.
Let me repeat it again. Shakarai Yanawa,
Shakarai, Yanawa,
Zakar,
Zakar,
Shaw,
Sho,
Hakanaka,
Hakanaka,
Bahasham,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
the water,
the water,
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Have a blessed night. Happy feast of dedication to everyone. Stay in the spirit. Peace.
Happy Feast of Dedication.
Shakakanaka.
Short Kanaka.
Asherah, like Psalms 1.